Marjorie Taylor Greene loves violence. Her campaign ads feature the Georgia Congresswoman literally with rocket launchers firing on a hybrid car with the word liberal on it. Last month, she excoriated the head of the FBI for obsessing about January 6th, which she called a 3-hour event. I played the clip. She referred to it as a 3-hour event. Not a riot, a 3-hour event. An event, like, the series finale of Games of Thrones. Last month, when Congresswoman Darrell Issa joined 7 other Republicans to vote against her motion to impeach the head of Homeland Security, she called Darrell Issa a pussy. Said he needs to grow some. Her rhetoric and worldview are tinged with violence, and that's to put it mildly. She adores Donald Trump and lobbied hard for him to be the one who replaced Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. When the Fulton County District Attorney indicted Donald Trump, Marjorie Taylor Greene said they should leave him alone, and I wish I were making this up, Marjorie Taylor Greene told the Fulton County DA, leave Donald Trump alone, go after rapists, unquote. This only months after a jury in New York ruled that Donald Trump was guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll. There are at least 30 credible sexual assault allegations against Donald Trump, but Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there every chance she gets to open for him at his rallies. Because during the Me Too movement, Marjorie Taylor Greene rejects the term believe women. And the Republican Party, that's a tough one. Believe women. They don't believe women. Marie Newman has been on this show. She has a transgender daughter. Her office is next door to Marjorie Taylor Greene's office. So to mock Congresswoman Newman's daughter, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a sign outside her office that Congressman Marie Newman, with a transgender daughter, has to see a couple of times a day. The sign reads, quote, there are 2 genders, male and female, trust the science, unquote. Trust the science. This from someone who thinks the earth is 6,000 years old and won't get vaccinated. 2 weeks ago, I reported that Marjorie Taylor Greene was going to step forward in December to report that she had been physically assaulted by a male member of the Republican caucus. I don't know if you remember, but I told you this 2 weeks ago. And sure enough, today, she brought an official complaint to Speaker Mike Johnson about fellow Georgia Republican Congressman Richard McCormick. Now, according to the latest reporting, Greene says she was physically assaulted by Republican Congressman from Georgia, Richard McCormick. The assault took place during a meeting of the Republican caucus last month, and this is very serious. McCormick and Greene, at the time, had competing resolutions to censure Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American serving in Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene's resolution to censure her was rejected, but Congressman McCormick's resolution to censure Rashida Tlaib made it all the way through the House and got passed. It was his motion that resulted in Rashida Tlaib getting censured, not Marjorie Taylor Greene's. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was very upset. She wanted her censure motion to succeed, not Congressman McCormick's. Now, you might remember she got kicked out of the Freedom Caucus for turning on Lauren Bobert. Well, why did Marjorie Taylor Greene turn on Lauren Bobert? Well, Congresswoman Lauren Bobert introduced articles of impeachment for Joe Biden that Marjorie Taylor Greene insisted were identical to her articles of impeachment for Joe Biden that she had already introduced. And Marjorie Taylor Greene felt, why are you introducing your own articles of impeachment? Why can't you get on board mine? So Marjorie, this is all true, by the way. This is why Marjorie Taylor Greene got kicked out of the Freedom Caucus, partly for supporting Kevin McCarthy as Speaker, but mostly because of this. Marjorie cornered Lauren Bobert on the House floor, walked up to her and said, and I quote, "You know, you're a little bitch." Not making this up. And then she said to Lauren Bobert, "You stole my articles of impeachment. It was my idea to impeach Joe Biden, and you stole my articles of impeachment. You're a little bitch." And then it turned into a bit of a screaming match in the congressional ladies' room. Not making this up. And now Marjorie Taylor Greene will not stop calling Lauren Bobert a whore. Whenever Lauren Bobert's name comes up in conversation in the halls of Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene says, "You mean that whore?" Like I said, what's not wrong with these people? Stop asking me what's wrong with these people. What's not wrong with these people? Anyway, so after Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American serving in Congress, after she was censured, there was a meeting of the Republican caucus, and Marjorie Taylor Greene was seething because, she got what she wanted. Rashida Tlaib was censured, but it wasn't Marjorie's censure, right? It was Congressman McCormick's. And she was seething. And while waiting for the meeting of the Republican caucus to begin, Congressman McCormick found himself in an argument with another House Republican over something. And then Congressman McCormick, the Georgia congressman who motioned to censure Rashida Tlaib, made it all the way through and passed. He had had enough of this argument, and he did a 180. He turned around to walk away from this argument. He does a 180, and he sees Marjorie Taylor Greene, and he smiles, and he thinks, oh, a kindred spirit. We both wanted to censure Rashida Tlaib. And he grabbed her by the shoulders, shook her, and said, at least we can have an honest discussion, right? In other words, we're both bigots from Georgia. We're both hateful Islamophobes who introduced resolutions to censure Rashida Tlaib. I can have an honest discussion with you. And he shook her like that. But Marjorie was still harboring a grudge because her resolution to censure Rashida Tlaib failed and McCormick's succeeded. So she said something along the lines of, "Get your hands off of me." McCormick immediately apologized and thought that was the end of it. But she immediately contacted the new speaker to say she was physically assaulted by her fellow Islamophobic bigot from Georgia. And now Mike Johnson has to decide whether to initiate an ethics investigation. By the way, I'm not sure if Rashida Tlaib is Muslim or Christian, but they're still they're still Islamophobes. Okay, so about Marjorie Taylor Greene being physically assaulted. Do I subscribe to believe all women? I do. I believe all women. Should a man grab a woman by the shoulders and shake her without permission, even if he thinks he's being friendly? No. Nope. Does Marjorie Taylor Greene have the right to feel she had been violated by her fellow racist, Islamophobic bigot when he grabbed her without permission? Yes. I know an attack on one woman is an attack against all women. But we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene. So there's something else that also has to be said. Unfortunately, it can't be said because it would be taken out of context. But it's what every single one of my listeners, especially the women, are thinking. So I'm now going to say what needs to be said about Marjorie Taylor Greene, but in a way that only my longtime listeners will understand. You'll understand what I'm saying if you've been a longtime listener, and this way my words will not be taken out of context, okay? Blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 Donald Trump. Blah, 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 E. Jean Carroll, blah, 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 blah. On March 18th, 2021, Marjorie Taylor Greene was one of 172 Republicans of the House who voted against reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. Blah, 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 blah. And so did Mike Johnson. She refused to authorize the boyfriend loophole when it comes to abusive boyfriends buying a gun. So blah, 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 blah you. Blah you and you're blahing blah, blah, blah. No, seriously, Marjorie Taylor Greene, go blah yourself. This way it won't be taken out of context.
It's time right now for the David Feldman Show. So get your ears on right, buckle in real